Ah, new old games. Old new games. Actually, no, they're not really new to me, but I want to play them. Hook them up, put it in, and fail. My old GameCube controller dies. It is my old GameCube controller. I've actually had it since back when I had a functional GameCube. But yes, it died, and I can no longer walk forward or backwards, so I intend to fix it. Start by taking the screws out of the back of the GameCube controller. Actually, the best place to start is probably with ordering a new set of joysticks. Um, I'll put a link in the description below for the ones that I bought off of Amazon. It's not an affiliate link. You don't have to worry about that. You know, don't have to worry about paying me any, although I would appreciate it. Anyway, so we'll start by taking off the back and then pulling the board out. The board does have a plastic cover that goes over the movement joystick, not the C-stick, for the GameCube. And that plastic cover just has two little tabs at the top of the board that you push through and it'll come off. And you want to be careful and mindful of the L and R trigger. Their little pads are in that. You can actually slide them out the back of the plastic cover, which will pretty much detach it from the board if you pull out the rumble motor as well. So here's the joysticks I got. Also, while I was ordering stuff for this repair, I went ahead and got some solder flux and solder wick and a solder sucker. I don't tend to do a lot of soldering. This is actually my first time replacing a joystick in any controller of this way anyway, like the actual full joystick, breaking it down and taking it out and everything. Soldering. So I spent a moment here kind of contemplating on how does this thing go in there, because I've not done this before. Works out in the end, or I wouldn't have made the video, probably. I don't know. I've not cared to upload failures in the past. So I'm gonna go to a little time lapse here and then pretend the soldering iron, which is where you take some of the solder and rub on the tip of it and then wipe it off on like a wet sponge or steel wool or something. And then as far as actually removing the joystick itself here, I do not particularly recommend the solder wick. I would say use the solder sucker if you decide to get one. It's not mandatory, but I found that it worked immensely better for actually removing the joystick from the board. And the solder wick actually did pretty good at cleaning the board up of any excess solder that was left behind. So I would suggest going that route. And the solder sucker is pretty fun. You know, you press it down, you press a little button on it, and bam, it jumps up. It's a pretty fun little tool to use, just like that. Anyway, go to another time lapse because I'm not actually here to waste anyone's time. Just here to hopefully help someone if they decide to look into how to replace the joystick in a controller and somehow stumble across the first video that I post on this channel. So yeah, I'll keep everything time-lapsed and as quick and hopefully entertaining as possible. I really had fun with this project, even though it was necessary and kind of aggravating that the controller didn't want to work. But I think it put in its time, or at least the joysticks did, and just ain't no good no more. And it's a lot cheaper with GameCube controllers to go the method of trying to replace parts than it is to buy a new controller, because there was a GameCube boom not awfully long ago, and the controllers in games have gotten ridiculously expensive. Hence why I didn't have a stack of like Zelda and Mario games at the start of this, because I just can't afford that. But I do miss playing on the GameCube. It's the console I grew up playing on. There's actually a company getting ready to come out with a new, like wireless, an actual new wireless GameCube controller. They'll have it. I'm assuming on Amazon. They're not taking pre-orders or anything now, or I would have put one in probably, because it looks very cool. If I manage to get one, I think they release in April. I will do an unboxing on this channel, and if they have a store site or something, I'll try to come back and add the video, the links and stuff in the video description here. Again, not affiliate. I'm not going to worry with that. If you want me to get paid on this channel, you subscribe. I'll appreciate that well enough. So there I took the solder and cleaned off the board like I was talking about earlier. Cleaned it up really good. And put the new joystick in. And I thought when I was putting this in, there's two little kind of white pegs coming off the bottom of it, and I thought they might actually click into the board, but they don't. They just kind of rest there. And then I went about putting on the solder flux, which does immensely. I've done a little bit of soldering before, and the solder flux helps tremendously and just immensely with getting the solder to go with where you want it to. I don't understand how it works. It's like black magic, but it helps. And I would also suggest using maybe a cotton swab, Q-tip, or like a plastic paintbrush maybe to apply the solder instead of using a knife. But I had it, it was convenient, it was there, and I was really excited to get the project done and get back to attempting to play games. I have a gaming channel. I'll link it in the description. So yes, applying the solder. I believe I will go to another time lapse, so not to waste anyone's time. Maybe if I was a little faster, more experienced, I could walk through this a little better without the time lapse sections. But for now, I think I'll get the idea across well enough anyway. Do a little time lapse, play a little music. Alright. I seem to be confident in something. I am doing the voiceover afterwards, after all. So, do I have all the pins done? Okay, cleaning up a little bit here. And I didn't realize that I could take the plastic part off, like I was explaining earlier in the video about the plastic part coming off. I didn't realize that I could take that all the way off. So, yeah, my bad. I wish I'd known. Alright, a little fade to black. Come back with some isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush to clean off the flux from the board, make it look really nice and pretty and everything. Also kind of dab it down with a paper towel to get it dry. I would suggest waiting maybe a couple hours, maybe until the next day for it to dry, just to be sure that everything is dry, especially depending on the percentage of isopropyl alcohol that you use. I would suggest high percentage, like 90, 99 if possible. The higher the better, because it evaporates quicker and leaves less water behind. And here I am putting the little pads for the L&R triggers back into their place. It's not very difficult, and then the board just sets back on, clicks in. And when you go to put the back of the controller shell back into its place, there's the little white, like, pegs that are sticking out of the back of the controller there, where they actually ride in the triggers. That's what gives you the analog function for the GameCube. You want to make sure they are pushed all the way up, because in the back of the controller, spring tension always keeps the triggers pushed up. I hope that makes sense. And I hope that the washing machine that is running right now is not too awfully bad, ruining my voiceover. It probably is. It's never quiet here. So yeah, put the line the back up, which can be a little finicky. I actually will explain it a little better in just a moment, but this was my first attempt at this, and when I soldered the joystick on, I had it lifted a little further away from the board than it should have been. So I actually had to go in and reseat it, and I would suggest when you solder it in, if you can hold the joystick like from the underside to the board to keep pressure on it so it actually stays flush with the motherboard, that'll be the better way to do it, so you don't end up like I did with the controller. It was just ever so slightly too high, and it was really stiff, and it would kind of stick. Like if I push it to the left, it would stay to the left. I have a video showing that here in just a second, because I was like, yes, got my controller back, get back to my game. Oh, it feels good. I can move around now. Play some James Bond. But I'll kind of fast forward to the part here where I decided to show the joystick getting stuck. Because if I would push it, like I said, to the left or right or backwards or any direction, it would stay stuck because I didn't have the joystick soldered close enough to the board. See, there you go. So I went back in, redid the entire process, and now it'll snap back to the middle when you let go of it. So, mission successful. Anyway, welcome to TECHNOBABBLE. It's going to be crazy. Hope you enjoy it, and check out our live streams, and other videos will be coming soon. Unboxings, tech videos, controller repairs, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'll be doing probably most of those videos, and a fellow that goes by the username of Game Despo will be joining me for live streams and stuff, and everything will be linked in the description below. And it's me, Valhal's Demise, in case you didn't know. And I hope everyone is having a good day, and you all remember to be safe, be good. Hope to catch you in the next one.